to look up at the stars. No, 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 no.
Come take a look at my dream world.
You don't have to look up at the stars.
Chat, if you wanna come get it, then come for it. I'm so clean, my kick's nice, I'm Chuck Norris. Minute made the beat bounce, had to jump on it. Run for it, run, Gump Forrest Gump like hollow pumps, you gotta jump. No trouble, no double, I got a stun. You don't have to look up at the stars. Make one wish, you're looking at a star. Swag so fresh, you can put it in the jar. And the way I change gear, you can put me in the car. I remember when me and Seif used to sneak in every concert door. Now I got my feet in. Every day is Get Friday, no weekend.
You don't have to look up at the stars.
Welcome back, everyone, to your favorite live sports show that is not JT and the Dawn or the Final Whistle. That's indeed correct. This is hashtag This Just In. And if it is Monday night and hashtag This Just In means that Adam Lewis is back with us. What's going on, Adam?
Hey, man. Great show to have a great show, as we always say. Super blessed to be here. And NFL's unfolding in front of us. Let's get into it.
I told y'all that I would have Adam on every single episode, and y'all doubted me. Who I have, though, thankfully back on, and he's coming here to rip my Packers because he told me at the start of the season what was going to happen. The Commanders' only fan. That is right, Blaine Wilson from the Final Whistle. What's going on, Blaine?
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for having me on. I know I'm going to be ripping Justin for a lot of this episode, but before we even dive into that, I just want to make sure, Dwayne Marcus, if you're watching, I just want to make sure you're okay. Because, I texted you last night. I've got an APB out for you right now, my guy. So, Dwayne Marcus, reach out to me because I know you're hurting even more about the Packers loss than Justin is. So
he is.
We're talking about Goat Talk podcast, right?
Goat Talk, baby.
I thought
Goat
so.
Talk.
Okay, I was about to say that name sounds familiar.
And the other guy needs no introduction, but he has on his.
Ooh, it's kind of loud on your end, Jimmy. We can hear it real bad. There we go.
Gotta work on that, but hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me. I don't. You don't even need me for this show. You already got two guys there. They're gonna gang up on you. So I don't know why you called me, and this is gonna make it even worse. But yeah, we can't really talk about the Packers, but I have a feeling it's gonna happen.
Because I planned not to talk about it tonight, so I decided to put three people who I know will talk, so I could just sit down, moderate, and cross my lap and wipe my tears from what has been one of the most dreadful seasons I've ever seen in Lambeau. But we're not going to talk about Lambeau right now because everyone was talking about last week the acquisition of none other than Run CMC, and I'm referring to Christian McCaffrey going to the San Francisco 49ers in a trade that no one saw coming. So, Adam, I'm going to start with you first. Does the acquisition of Christian McCaffrey make these 49ers a legit Super Bowl contender?
That's a great question, Justin. And, a lot of the talking heads out here as we are today are, wow, the 49ers are really serious. We see the moves that we're making. They didn't necessarily mortgage off a lot, but hey, they went and got a fairly good player. As we all know, we see what he's capable of. As much as I want to think that Christian McCaffrey would make the 49ers a Super Bowl contender, let's not act like we've seen Jimmy G in the Super Bowl spot before. Let's not act like we've seen Kyle Shanahan in two Super Bowl spots before, not only with the 49ers, but with the Atlanta Falcons, with that epic against the New England Patriots. Could the defense potentially take them there? Yes, we obviously know that. We know the players that they have on defense, from the Boses of the world to the Fred Warners of the world, and kind of everyone in between that we know runs that smash mouth defense of the San Francisco 49ers. But when you look at that defense also, yes, they did just go up against the Chiefs, but, losing any game like that, giving up 40+ to a team like that, you're going to kind of build that identity for yourself as you go through the season. So that's kind of tough to see. Christian McCaffrey himself, of course, is an electric player, but again, when you look at the fact that, it is Jimmy Garoppolo still taking snaps under center. Yes, you do have CMC in the backfield. You still got your Deebo Samuels, and you still got, obviously, a lot of your players there on offense. I just don't really know, when we use such a heavy term of Super Bowl contenders, I don't trust Jimmy Garoppolo to make those big throws in the Super Bowl or even potentially in those playoffs time and time again to get them to that spot. Yes, before everyone freaks out, we know that they were just a drop pick away from going to another Super Bowl last year. And we've seen this 49ers team be, not necessarily a powerhouse in the NFC, but we know that they've got a lot of potential. But in terms of Super Bowl contenders, I am going to have to pump the brakes on that. Does he make them better? Absolutely. Does he kind of add, not even kind of, does he add to this offense to make them more potent? Absolutely. But, again, Jimmy Garoppolo, Kyle Shanahan, I like what they do, but I don't know if I can trust them when the big game comes around. It's going to give them juice for sure, but they're still sitting at 3-4. And I understand the NFC is kind of a dumpster fire right now from the West to the South and everything in between. So I think I'm going to have to hold off on that. I wouldn't say Christian McCaffrey makes them Super Bowl contenders. Could he have maybe bought them a win or two to get them to a divisional or maybe a wild card or a divisional? Absolutely. But I don't see them hoisting the title in February. Absolutely not.
It's weird, Blaine, considering I'm asking this question after a 3-touchdown defeat. But same thing. Does Christian McCaffrey elevate this team?
Honestly, if we're actually looking at the 49ers as a whole, the one thing that other than I think last week was just, or yesterday now, was just running into a freight train that is the Kansas City Chiefs and their offense, right? But this has been the main reason that they've been winning football games this year. It hasn't been their offense. I mean, this is a team that's actually pretty stacked at the running back position if you're actually going to look into their depth chart. Like, how much of an upgrade is CMC based off of him being injury prone in comparison to Elijah Mitchell, who might be coming back off of IR, Jeff Wilson. Then you also have to factor in, like, I'm trying to think of the other back. Oh, they brought Tevin Coleman off the bench, right? Off the streets to come in, and he was scoring a couple of touchdowns this month for the Niners. And the one thing that is always fearful when it comes to Christian McCaffrey is his durability, and that has been his issue the last probably 4 or 5 years, basically. Since, honestly, you can make that argument since the Panthers made that run, right, when they made the Super Bowl against the Broncos in Super Bowl 50. So where are you gonna see there? I wouldn't say that the Niners are contenders because of McCaffrey. I would say that they're probably in the conversation of contenders because of how weak, that Adam just said, how weak of a dumpster fire the NFC is. So where would you put them in that threshold? You have to put them in consideration because of the team as all around. And I don't really take yesterday much into account because of how dominant Kansas City just was yesterday. And they're going to try and figure out McCaffrey as their point. But honestly, I won't be surprised if he only averages those 10 touches that he's getting right now because of how much depth they have.
Jimmy, any pushback here?
Where do we start? So, funny thing on this whole show, I saw you send the questions. I'm gonna just hold myself accountable. So I'm gonna stick with a lot of what I predicted during the preseason. So funny, that was actually my Super Bowl matchup was 49ers versus the Chiefs. So I feel good about that, but I feel worse about the 49ers. And I agree with both of you guys said, but I'm gonna add more to it. Brandon Ayuk said it perfectly yesterday after the game. This team is too good to score 23 points. Like, they should be elite putting up numbers. I'm tired of hearing about Ayuk, tired of hearing about Deebo. I'm tired of hearing about Jimmy G being this great quarterback that wins and Kyle Shanahan's this genius. I'm not seeing it. And it's funny that Christian McCaffrey is going to the 49ers. Like, he fits in. They're the IR team. Like, literally every running back that goes there that plays, you guaranteed to land on IR. It doesn't matter how good you perform. So I don't trust him to stay healthy because we act like he was healthy before the season. We act like every week when he was in Carolina this year, he wasn't, on the injury report with something and having us scared. So I'm just supposed to think like, oh, he's going to turn into Derrick Henry and never miss a game and just get, 30 touches. No. And it comes down to what you guys said. It's number 10 and it's Kyle Shanahan. And those two have proven it to me that they can't get it done. And the thing that's really making me feel like they're not Super Bowl contenders and I feel worse about them now than I did before the season is they don't have the Packers to push around the playoffs as a guaranteed win this year. Like, Packers ain't going to be there. I know we're not supposed to talk about the Packers, but that was part of the plan. It's like, we'll make the playoffs. We'll face the Packers, probably in Lambeau, and then we'll roll. But that's not going to happen this year. Like, you're going to have to play some teams, probably in your division, to get further than you really want to. So I think, to me, I don't think this moves the needle. Their defense is too banged up. Trey Lance didn't work out. He's hurt. So now you know what the ceiling is. And it's Jimmy G. Can he make the right throws at the right time? And, yesterday he showed still the same OG. Like, he's not going to be able to.
And you take a look too, like yesterday, I didn't see a whole lot of, McCaffrey out of the backfield, Texas routes, small out routes to the side. Like it was a lot of, like Greg Olsen said on the cast, stretch left, stretch right, toss left, toss right, zone left, zone right. And of course, he's only been there for a few days. I won't say that it doesn't move the needle though, Jimmy, because clearly he's going to make them a better team. But like you said, number 10 and Kyle Shanahan have showed us time and time again. And obviously, if we're talking about Jimmy G making that throw in the Super Bowl and Kyle Shanahan just knowing how to manage the damn clock a couple times, we're having a completely different conversation today. I will say, though, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, does CMC not look like he belongs in a Niners uniform? Like, I thought it was going to be weird. I saw him on the cast yesterday, and I'm like, did this guy come out of college for the Niners? Like, what's up?
He played for Stanford. It's the same
look. I got to say, he looks a lot better in a Niners uniform than he did in the Panthers uniform. And I didn't know if I'd say that, man, but he does.
The Panthers obviously are saying that they look better, though, without him after how they were dominant yesterday.
Yeah, tell it to Brady.
I'm going to put back here, guys, and I can't believe I'm the one who won't be the Debbie Downer. So just for the sake of balance, I'm going to say yeah. And the reason I say yeah, yesterday is not, like a measuring stick because he was only on the field for 20 snaps. Obviously, he was only in the building for a couple of days. And 10 touches. And in those 10 touches, I want to say he had 64 yards.
Right. Which
so almost like every other play, he picked up a first down. I have to believe when they expand the playbook for him, like, you are going to see what this offense should look like. And why I am not concerned about injury this time, because unlike Carolina, they actually have other weapons where his usage rate won't be as high. You have George Kittle, arguably the best, if not at least the second best tight end in all of football. You've got Deebo Samuel, and you've got Brandon Ayuk. I have to think, when defenses has to worry about whether Christian McCaffrey is in the backfield or he can motion him out in the slot, even put him away, you're going to have to ask yourself, how are you defending this team? And Jimmy G at his best, I know Jimmy G is not the greatest. At his best is when that team puts him in play action passes or play action situations. Guess what? No, you have a running back that you actually have to fear in a offense which is catered on that zone and the scheme that's Adam talked about. You have those zone stretches to the left. You have those zone stretches to the right that you have to worry about. I'm telling you, no. And y'all also brought it up. The biggest point of why this team is a Super Bowl contender. The NFC on a whole is a dumpster fire. There is only one good team in the entire NFC, guys. And that's not even in their division. And that is in the NFC East. There are no other good teams in the NFC. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. Because I'm transitioning to the next topic, guys. The San Francisco 49ers are 3-4, but guess who else is also 3-4? My Green Bay Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Actually, if not for the bye week, gentlemen, all four teams that represented the NFC in the divisional round would be 3-4. Yep. It's only that the Rams are on the bye. So, guys, and this time I'm going to start with you, Blaine. Considering that 3 of the 4 are 3-4, the Rams are 3-3, are these 4 NFC powers done?
I wouldn't say that all of them are done. For if we're talking about the Niners and the Rams, I mean, their division honestly is right now is a bit of a struggle, right? With if you're looking at with Seattle leading the way. Right. So you have Arizona at 3-4, San Francisco at 3-4, the Rams are at 500, and then you have the Niners are also at 3-4. So everyone's all within a game of one another. The only argument that you have there is that you might only get one team out of the NFC West because of how slowly the Rams and the Niners have started, and it's kept the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals in the hunt for that divisional crown. As it pertains to the Tampa Bay Bucs, I wouldn't say they're done because, again, like the NFC West, their division is absolutely awful right now, right? Green Bay, on the other hand, I've seen more red flags out of them than the other 4 teams that we're talking about. Tampa Bay, I'm not as worried because usually Tampa Bay doesn't figure it out till about week 7 or 8 anyway. But because they are starting off slower than they usually are because they're winning the games, they're just not winning, but they're winning them ugly. That's what it's been the last couple of years with Tampa, right? And then as it pertains to the Niners and the Rams, they are trying to figure out some nuances. I think the Rams are still have become too reliant on Cooper Kupp, and they're trying to figure out how to incorporate Allen Robinson. I think they should be honestly re-signing OBJ in a heartbeat right now to help set up their offense.
Yep.
But for the Packers, you see so many issues especially offensively. And I know I'm hyped to be a Commanders fan, and I'm a ride or die, but honestly, I was making the argument that we were gonna be the worst team in football this year. And somehow we're 3-4 because we beat you guys yesterday in a game that honestly, you guys were only in the game because of your defense scored a touchdown. Like, there was more faith on the Commanders sideline in Taylor Heineke than there was on the Packers sideline in Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. And when you're having that argument, that is a huge red flag, because the only reason you bring Aaron Rodgers back and you let Devonta Adams walk was because he's the difference of becoming a contender or a pretender when it's being the exact opposite right now.
Same thing, Adam. 3 of these teams are 3-4, and the others 3-3.
Mm-hmm.
Are we seeing a turnover in the NFC, or are these 4 powers going to find a way to make it back?
If I had to choose one power to make it back, obviously I'm going to put my faith in Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, clearly they look very different this year, and clearly Tom Brady's going through a divorce. He looks very unhealthy. He looks very skinny. He doesn't look very, tapped into the game right now. And, let's just call a spade a spade. When you have a defensive-minded head coach at the helm in Todd Bowles, you take a look at the Bucs this year. 19 points, 20 points, 12 points. They've only scored over 30 points one time, and that was with a shootout against the Kansas City Chiefs. Their last 3 games, 21 points, 18 points, and 3 points against a Panthers team. If there's any team that I think is going to right the ship, it is the Bucs, and it is solely because of Tom Brady. Now you go and take a look at the Packers here. 7 points, 27 points, 14, another 27, 22, 10, and then 21. So the Packers are clearly kind of scaling back some offensively. Now they are, a little better than the Bucs in scoring points. But again, Justin, like I told you, Aaron Rodgers is clearly not on his rocker right now. He's off of his rocker. And the fact that he has a $200 million contract over 4 years, that's a very unhappy man to be making $50 million a year. And you take a look at the fact that, you heard him, you heard reports of him not really gelling with these rookie wide receivers, not really trying to build that chemistry with them, not really participating with them in camp. And, it's just tough. I mean, when you look at the fact that Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a whole lot at his disposal, yes, he's got players out there, but actual true weapons that are going to take him far, it's just really tough. Clearly, the Rams only have Cooper Kupp. One of y'all mentioned that they clearly need to get OBJ back. The offensive line is absolutely horrible. And then we take a look at, of course, the 49ers as well that we just talked about. We've seen Jimmy G. We've seen Kyle Shanahan. I don't really have faith in any of these teams except the Buccaneers, and that's not really strong faith. It is solely because of Tom Brady. The offenses are clearly off. Again, Packers, Aaron Rodgers looks unhappy, not a lot of weapons. Tom Brady's going through a divorce. Matthew Stafford, what do we want to call him? What do they call him? Stat Padford, excuse me. I heard that one the other day, which absolutely cracked me up. Bad offensive line, no weapons. And then, you see how these teams are playing out. So the Bucs would truly be the only one that I would bank on righting the ship and maybe getting back into the hunt.
Same thing, Jimmy.
Why are you asking me questions you already know the answer to, man? Why you do this to yourself? I'll tell you what. 2 of these teams I'm out on completely, and 2 of these teams I'm in on. I'll start with the teams I'm out on. Bucs and Packers, and I'll tell you why. Packers, for obvious reasons, their coach ain't as good as people think he is. Like, LaFleur
28th offense when he got that job, and you get Aaron Rodgers.
Funniest, exactly, and that was my biggest beef when he got that job. The Titans sucked. Like, are you forgetting that this is the same dude? This is why they couldn't unleash Derrick Henry. It was after LaFleur left when Derrick Henry started balling, and now you give him Aaron Rodgers. He has Devonta Adams, and now he does it. So what's the point? A.J. Dillon can't get going. The receivers suck, but they refuse to run the ball. So that's the coach. Aaron Rodgers is unhappy. He already proved, like, when he's upset and he's not front running, he's going to take his ball and go home. So I'm out on them anyway. The coach and the quarterback.
Yeah, coaching was horrible.
Bucs. Exactly. Bucs, I'll tell you why I'm out on them. I'm going to say this. Nobody going to want to hear it. Y'all don't want to admit it. But Bucs won a Super Bowl in the COVID year. Maybe that's the reason why we thought they were good. Just look at sports and look at all the teams that were good during the COVID year. And we're like, all right, and then look at them after. Like, what has changed? Don't say the offensive line. He's getting pressure at a less rate this year than he did last year. Still throwing the ball, still got the same weapons. I'll give the coaching change a little bit. I'm not a Todd Bowles fan, but he still got Byron Leftwich there. Tom Brady still slinging the ball. And matter of fact, I think you look even more upset because he's getting a divorce. And he's probably happy because he don't have to go home. So he's still playing well. It's just that team is probably overhyped because we're putting up on a pedestal what they did in the COVID year, which was crazy for everybody.
And they played the Super Bowl at home.
You know, and they played the Super Bowl at home. Like, we're going off of that. They got everything is the same. Their defense, like, what's going on? No way they should allow it to Carolina. So for me, I'm out. Tom Brady can't even save this team. I could be wrong, but I'll let that ride. And then the 49ers and the Rams, I'm all in on because, one, I trust the coaches on those two staffs. And I think what's wrong with them is fixable. 49ers, all they got to do is stay healthy and do things to make sure that Jimmy Garoppolo can't mess it up. Great defense when it's healthy. And CMC and all these offensive weapons, they're supposed to be the best in the league. So I can trust that they can fix that. Rams, it's McVay. He just won it. Like, and we act like they were perfect last year. The 49ers smacked them twice last year into the playoffs. So he's come out of a bye. The Allen Robinson thing, I think that's fixable. I think that has more to do with the offensive line. And I think that Stafford has to realize what type of receiver Robinson is. He's not an OBJ where it's like, go route and I throw it to you deep. It's like, hey, if he's one-on-one, he's open. Let him do jump balls. So I think they'll figure that out. And you forget, Matthew Stafford was out all offseason. So him and Robinson and some of these guys had no time to work. That's why he keeps going to Cooper Kupp and Higbee, guys that he has a rapport with. They got a bye week. They're getting some guys healthy. I think they're going to figure it out. And then you're going to see a completely different Rams team in the second half. So those two I'm in on. Bucs I'm out on until Tom Brady shows me he's like New England Tom Brady and he can overcome all this bad stuff. And the Packers, like, they're a lottery team. Like, they're bad. Like, Taylor Heineke had that same game last year. I swear I was having deja vu. Didn't you guys play him at home last year? And Tyler Heineke had the same kind of game where he beat y'all in, like, crazy fashion. Like,
So
y'all done. Lottery pick. Okay.
So I'm going to go. There's only one of these four teams I am high on, and that's the same one we started with, and that's the 49ers. Good coach, good talent. As Jimmy just said, it is just a matter of staying healthy. Like, I trust what I'm seeing in front of me, and that is a drop interception away from being in the Super Bowl. And the only change is that you actually add a top 5 running back now. I have to believe in that team. When they're healthy, I am not sure there's a team outside of Philadelphia that's better in the entire NFC. The Rams, I am not as confident like Jimmy that they can fix because, one, that offensive line is bad, and they lost the only good piece in that offensive line to retirement in Andrew Whitworth. You seem to forget that. Like, you don't replace that in a heartbeat.
Yep.
The lack of chemistry with Allen Robinson is shocking, but it is what it is. And this team, two things, cannot and just refuses to run the football. And that offense that Sean McVay runs is just a staple like what Shanahan runs, what Matt LaFleur runs. It's all the same offense that has branched down from Kel's father, Mike Shanahan, from the days of the Denver Broncos. And what is that? It's that zone running scheme. And the mere fact that Sean McVay has gone away from that means his offense is going to be trash. Throwing the football 40. So I have the mere fact.
Jimmy, you got some feedback on your end, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know what that is.
So the mere fact that the Rams cannot run the football tells me, I'm not in on that team. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I was initially high on to start the year, but for whatever reason, they're all the
Just coming through again, Jimmy.
Right. The receivers can't get any separation. They are probably the worst running football team in the entire NFL, and this is the NFL that includes the Buffalo Bills. If you cannot run better than Buffalo, then you're absolutely dreadful. Tom looks old, disinterested. The team, the receivers, except for Mike Evans, they're not getting any separation. I thought the defense, especially front seven, would be a lot better. But from whatever situation it is, Vita Vea and company just don't look like the same front seven that won the Super Bowl. Maybe Jimmy is right. They wanted a COVID year and we overestimated them. That is shocking. Now for my Packers. This is, like Jimmy said, a lottery team. There's no getting around it. And for multiple reasons. And you know what? If I thought y'all were going to rip on them, so I'll do my job and rip on them for you. Let's start. It starts with coaching. As y'all correctly said, LaFleur, I don't even want to say clueless. For a guy who should know better, I can't understand what I'm seeing in front of me. With the lack of offensive weapons you have and the of you got have that, this should be a run first team. Like that should be obvious. Your best players are Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. That should be drilled in your head. But for whatever reason, LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers have decided this is not a run first team, and it is absolutely crazy what is going on. Aaron Jones has to be averaging 20 touches a game. Like, I'm not telling you 20 carries because he's not that big of a back to do that. But Aaron Jones at this point has to be averaging 20 touches a game. And I don't think there's a single game in this season that has happened. That is a problem with the coach and the quarterback. That is absolute sabotage. Then you look, for whatever it is, the receivers have been absolutely dreadful. From Romeo Doubs not being able to hold on to the football, Al Lazard with drops. Like these drops are coming at rates. Part is Aaron Rodgers not putting the ball where it's supposed to be. Part of it is these receivers not knowing where they're supposed to be and just bad hands. Then you go. The offensive line is not what it is. Corey Lindsey has been gone. Elton Jenkins is not the same player. David Bakhtiari is trying to find his way back. Where do I continue? We brought in Bisaccia to change special teams. How do you continue to watch Amari Rodgers be your punt returner after fumble, after fumble, after fumble? That is sabotage. But the worst coaching job of the entire team has to be Joe Barry. You have elite players on every level of this defense. You have Kenny Clark, the second best nose tackle in all of football. You have Rashawn Gary, who has been proven, who has outshined my expectation, who's been a good outside linebacker as a pass rusher. You have Quay Walker and Devondre Campbell, who are, to me, two all-pro inside linebackers right now, and Jair Alexander, shutdown corner. And for whatever reason, Joe Barry tells himself, I am going to sit back every single game and play these soft two high safety zones. And gentlemen, what is the one way to beat a two high safety zone? You run the football.
Exactly.
And what every single team done on these Packers, run the football because they're playing with 5 and 6 man fronts. That is not even going to stop the 4 of us if we decided to put on pass tomorrow. You cannot stop the run with 5 and 6 men in the box. The coaching is bad. The coaching is just bad. And until they understand that, one, you have to play the defense to the talent that you have and come out of these two high safety zones. And 2, this team needs to be a run-first team. This team, and I predict it now, and y'all can write this down, will not finish any higher than 3rd in the NFC North. They're going to lose both games to the Detroit Lions. They've already lost to Minnesota, and they will be swept by Minnesota. And they will be fortunate to get out of Chicago with a victory. This team is going to finish no higher than 3rd in the NFC North. So I say all of that to say, with the exception of the 49ers, the time of these NFC powers, it is over, gentlemen. Y'all can chime in quickly before we move on to the next topic.
Justin, I love your spiel and your little soliloquy that you gave us there on your Green Bay Packers. But how can you guys run the football when you guys are statistically the worst yards per attempt rushing team in the NFL right now?
Because look where they're running the football from, Blaine. Everything is only shotgun.
Arthur Smith can do it. Y'all can do it.
Like, they're running everything out of the shotgun. Like, you have to come out of that and stop that madness. Go in an I formation, get Aaron Rodgers' butt behind center, and run the football 4th and 1 in your game with a game on the line. What did the Packers go to? An outside
nice little pass, baby. Love it.
Madness. You have AJ Dillon, who falls forward for 2 yards every time he touches the football. Put Aaron Rodgers' butt behind center. Put a fullback behind him run the damn football. Like, how hard is this? Football's not hard.
You want that Lombardi playbook, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
No, I told you this before the season. I said the Packers will go as far as Rashawn Gary goes, and that's obviously like an extension of the defense. And this is what I don't get about y'all. I know some of it's defensive coordinator, but yeah, the offense is struggling. But y'all defense, that's the real underachieving part.
Yep.
Like, we're gonna talk about another team later on this show where I feel the same way about them. And I'm just tired of hearing about their defense. But y'all, one of those defenses. Y'all got too many good individual players, too much draft capital, too much hype to be like, all right, cool. Like, we can't carry a offense through a bad period of time. Like, y'all playing the NFC North. Like, y'all should be destroying teams with this defense. Like, the Ravens won a championship doing this exact same thing. Like, I don't understand why y'all can't do it. Because 49ers, to an extent, do this too.
Because Joe Barry is clueless. Joe Barry has basically told us every week without saying it, I do not know how to coach anything other than 2 high safety zones. That's all they can coach. And you have the players to do something else. But this is not a Packers podcast, so I'm going to continue on. Guys, we are going to go into the fun segment, a little game that Adam came up with called Contenders or Pretenders. And what I'm going to do, each of you, I'm going to fire a quick team at you. Ask you contender or pretender. You tell me contender or
What's
pretender.
your definition of contender, though? Are we talking like making the Super Bowl, or are we talking about making the playoffs contender?
I'm talking about basically making the playoffs / a little running playoffs. Because let's be honest, gentlemen, and I purposely left the 3 teams out of this. There are 3 Super Bowl contenders only in my estimation right now.
Yeah.
That's Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Philadelphia Eagles.
Right.
Everyone is just playing for 2nd or 3rd place or whatever consolation prize that we may decide to make up in our mind for football. So, Jimmy, I'm going to start with you quickly. Contender or pretender? The New York Giants sitting at 5-1.
Giants.
Speaking of 6-1.
6-1.
Speaking of somebody winning like the Baltimore Ravens, if the Giants can win, I don't see why y'all can't do it. Yeah, they're contenders. They might have the coach of the year, comeback player, offensive player, all and the most improved player all on the same team. So I'm buying it. They're legit. And one acquisition with them that's going under the radar, Wink Martindale. You see him going to the Giants, how it's changed and how the Ravens are struggling on defense since he's left. So I'm all in on the Giants.
I am not all in. I like their running attack. I like the fact that they've found a way to hide Daniel Jones' inability to throw the football.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like how they're playing defense.
Yeah.
But I don't know like how sustainable is this, but like Jimmy said, we're going to find out.
Yep. Saquon covers up a lot. Average quarterback, bad offense. I mean, I don't trust Daniel Jones. That's what it comes down to.
Daniel Jones' legs, though.
Dave all is legit.
He's literally using the Josh Allen formula to Daniel Jones.
He is. Definitely can say
Blake,
that.
There's not only one surprise out of New York. We have a second one in those Jets. The New York Jets, Blaine.
Pretenders. Not buying the hype on the New York Jets. They've had a great start. They've had a couple of fluke wins with that Cleveland, whatever you can call it, Cleveland debacle that the Browns had. And then, honestly, I mean, Breece Hall tearing his ACL today pretty much has put the ship in their sails. Like, they've man, they lost Vera Tucker. They just lost everybody. And then, honestly, people don't realize, like, the AFC East is low-key a decent division right now with the Pats at 500. The Dolphins are now above 500. I think the Dolphins are going to win 3 or 4 in a row now with their schedule coming up. And no offense, Zach Wilson is not that dude right now. And he's just
never was.
They're using Michael Carter and Breece Hall to the best of their abilities as their top 2 running backs. And with Hall out for the year, I don't know how much Michael Carter can carry the load.
Yeah, definitely don't trust Zach Wilson early on. And Robert Saleh still got to prove it. And losing Breece Hall and AVT is very, very tough.
Can't trust a LaFleur. Tell you that. That's the main thing.
Dang.
Adam,
Mic drop.
how about them Cowboys?
Yeah, I'm going to stay off of that one. Definitely pretenders. Look, they're definitely playing their hearts out. Cooper Rush has stepped in, kind of giving them the Teddy Bridgewater, New Orleans Saints type of effect there. Really be able to carry the team, being able to carry the team. Only one loss there, but again, we've seen the same old song and dance with these guys. Hats off to Dan Quinn. He's making the defense look great. He's clearly channeling what he's been able to do all along. He's clearly in his spot, not as a head coach, but as a defensive coordinator, because of course we know what he did in Seattle. Micah Parsons looks great too. Don't get me wrong. We're obviously liking what we see out of Trayvon Diggs, but I just don't believe with Dak Prescott underneath center and with the head coach and Mike McCarthy that they're going to make the right decisions to actually get them. They could make the playoffs, but I don't see them going on any type of run. I mean, it'd probably be an ugly loss in the divisional. Maybe they scrape out of the wild card, but no, I'm not going to buy in on these Cowboys being contenders. Absolutely not. Pretenders all day.
Jimmy, you disagree. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I gotta disagree because they just won all those games with their backup quarterback, and I think you guys are underestimating Michael Parsons. Like that's the closest thing. That's the closest thing on defense in the NFL to a franchise quarterback. Like just watch him play. Like one play, he's breaking up the passing coverage. So like you do that in a healthy Dak, and we know Dallas is built for shootout. They have weapons. I'm in on them. And for the guy you said, Dan Quinn, like they cover up more deficiencies when I know that he's going to do his job on defense. Like I feel less worried about McCarthy and Kellen Moore not getting it done when I know like that defense can go out there and shut people down.
I'm not sure who's underrating Micah Parsons on this show.
Yeah, hell no, definitely not me. That's
and they got to be contenders then, man.
Not off of one guy, bro. I mean, we got to talk about the coach and the quarterback.
I have repeatedly said on this show, Micah Parsons is a top 5 player in the NFL, and he's not number 5. So, Jimmy, you have probably the most interesting case of pretender/contender, those Los Angeles Chargers.
This is the team I was talking about. I don't even want to talk about them. Like, why we keep talking about the Chargers? Like,
disappointing for sure.
I can't cuss on your show, and I want to so bad, but why we keep talking about them? Like, I have been off of the Chargers for like the last 3 years.
Yep.
Like, why do we keep overrating them? I'm tired
They're
of
kind
seeing
of the new Cowboys
in the top one. Yeah, I'm tired of seeing all their players in the top 100. Tired of seeing them making Pro Bowls. I'm tired of everybody, posting all those photos of like, oh yeah, this is a squad. Look at all these good players. They suck. Derwin James sucks. Every time I see a game, he's getting roasted by somebody or the backup. Justin Herbert, I love him, physical talent, but he does not win games for them. Like he does not get it done. Mike Williams doesn't get it done. Keenan Allen, old, hurt. Like the Bosa's always hurt. Roids. I don't get it. Like they have all this great talent on paper, but they never get it done. Never get it done. Like their defense gets toasted by everybody.
And they have a defensive-minded head coach too.
Yeah, and exactly. Brandon Staley coaches defense. Defense gets roasted. Their offense looks horrible. Yep.
And they love going for it on 4th down when they're not supposed to be going for it on 4th down.
Like you haven't shown to put any offensive energy together. You want to go for it on 4th down. Like I'm out on them. Like they were lucky to make the playoffs last year. Like I'm out. Like what's lower than the pretenders? They're like a lottery team. They're like the Knicks. They're like a lottery team that thinks they're like a major franchise. Like It's so bad.
I can't disagree, bro. They got a lot of draft capital on that roster too. I mean, if you think about it, if the Chargers really wanted to shell out their roster for capital, they've got it right there. I don't think Herbert would go anywhere, but clearly we know that they look great on paper. But I mean, it's coaching. Look at the Browns with Freddie Kitchens. Absolutely loaded. They fire him. Nothing changes besides Kevin Stefanski. 11 wins, playoff team. It's coaching, plain and simple.
So,
and they're the culture because they did the same thing with
as well with
like
Phillip Rivers.
They look good, and they're Chargers. Like it's this culture, like it's in their DNA to blow it.
Yep. What were they? 14-2
they're just
1
a
year.
Definition
just couldn't
of,
bring it home.
Yeah. Yep.
Go ahead, Blaine. You were saying what?
I just say they're the definition of playing to who they have on their schedule in front of them. You'll see them against the Chiefs, and they'll match the Kansas City Chiefs snap for snap, and then they'll get absolutely blitzed like they did this past weekend. I can't remember who they played, but Seahawks absolutely blitzed them. And I know you're going to give me the Seahawks next, so I'll jump right in there. They're a pretender too. So there's no faith yet for me with DK. Now I got to know what DK's severity of his injury is.
Bone bruise. That's what they're saying.
It's a bone bruise.
Yeah, so it's probably like 4 weeks.
I just don't know what you're going to get on the defensive side of the ball with Seattle. I know I've been really impressed with what Geno's done. Don't get me wrong. I think Geno's been like the story of the season statistically as a quarterback. But they're beat up at the running back position. Kenneth Walker, I think, has taken over those reins really well with Rashad Penny getting hurt. But I just don't have enough faith on the back end. Jamal Adams being out for the year, he is that focal point for that team defensively. He is that team's identity, though. He breathes their physicality, and he's the quarterback on that squad on the defensive side of the ball. So I'm still not overly sold yet on the Seahawks.
You writing them off. That's why they're not writing you back, man. Come on.
They always write me off.
They legit. First of all, Geno's playing out of his mind. I don't know if that's real or not, but
no, that's real, bro.
Named,
he's passing the eye test week by week. Geno Smith is a top 10 quarterback in this league right now. I said what I said.
He passed it last year when he got run down the stretch. He looked the same way last year when Russ went down. But all things you named about the Seahawks, like this is what they do. All the time their running backs are banged up. It don't matter. Chris Carson, Rashad Penny. The thing with them that is different this year is everybody swore this offensive line would be trash.
That's true.
Yep.
And they're only trash in pass blocking, but they've improved that. So that's why everything looks better. And I don't know why they're playing
Geno's shown. I'm going to give you this. Geno has shown mobility that I don't think any of us would have guessed that he had.
Geno's showing playing ability that we didn't know he had.
Virginia, he had it.
So are we saying then that
and playmaking in general? You're right.
That's Virginia. Turn on the tape, man. That's a Miami boy.
So the offensive play was only a problem when a certain quarterback was behind it. And very interesting. So moving on, the Minnesota.
No, that's not fair though, because Pete Carroll.
I'm just throwing out there real quick before we move off of them.
No.
Seahawks are my sleeper team in the NFC. I'm gonna say they're a divisional round team right there. I'm gonna say they're contenders up until the divisional round. Call me crazy. They're passing the eye test. They're 4-3. They're defying the odds. Geno Smith not top 10. Excuse me, I meant to say top 12.
I think the Niners and Rams in their division's also their own hindrance right there.
Yeah, you could be right.
We're gonna stay in the NFC. The Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, don't get me started on Captain Kirk.
You coming over to me, Justin, for the Vikings?
That's you.
So God, dude, it's like the Vikings and the Chargers just feel so the same, like on paper, great, but clearly, Kevin O'Connell comes in kind of trying to clean up the mess of Mike Zimmer. He got fired finally, which, it was okay. Mike Zimmer was doing what he could. He had a couple of decent wins on his record, but as much as I want to believe this team is contenders, I don't trust Kirk Cousins. I don't at all. Is he a serviceable quarterback? Yes. Is he better than average and good? Yes, but he's not great. I don't think he's a big play type of guy. I don't think he's a guy that's necessarily going to bring it down the stretch for you, bring it home, and really take you into that postseason. They're so fringe for me, but I'm going to go with my gut. They're pretenders, but they could be leaning towards that contender side, considering that the NFC is an absolute dumpster fire right now. One of the better teams with the eye test for sure, but I think we all know that they're not going to go very far this year.
How has fate, God, or whatever you want to call, shine down on me that I get to ask the guy with the Baltimore Ravens hat on, pretenders or contenders, Jimmy Thompson, Baltimore Ravens?
I don't know why you coming to me, man. You know how I feel about the Ravens, man. Like as long as Lamar back there, they're going to be contenders. And like you see it every week they're in a game, either they're up and the defense blows it, or it's just a tough matchup. Like as long as they got Lamar and they got Justin Tucker, like it's cash, man. Like it's easy. And that division, I don't know what to make of it because two of the teams, to me, I don't trust at all. I don't trust the Steelers and I don't trust the Bengals. Like they have spurts, but I don't trust them. Cleveland, I got to see what happens when Deshaun comes back because they don't look completely horrible and like talent deficient.
Point.
My Saints got to see
Nick Chubb could rip off games and they can win 3 straight. So like Baltimore is going to win a division. And you forget last year, this was the number 1 seed in the AFC. Like Lamar doesn't get hurt. Joe Burrow doesn't get to go to that Super Bowl because they don't get to play easy Tennessee Titans. They're contenders, and until they don't have Truz anymore, I gotta say I'm rolling with them 100% every time because you can't bet against him. Like just when you think, oh, like they're dead, like here comes Lamar, like Superman saving the day.
Last but not least, Blaine, the defending AFC champs, Cincinnati Bengals.
I'm gonna have to disagree with JT there on the Bengals, on his Bengals. That they are contenders. I know they've had a couple of games where you could honestly, based off their opponent, you could quote it as like a cupcake game, right? They had the Atlanta Falcons this past weekend, and we all know Atlanta doesn't know how to play defense. Okay, yeah, but all you have to do is that these last 2 weeks they've finally found their groove offensively, and that's how the Bengals win games in the first part. And like honestly, their defense is underrated, and people don't give them credit for that, especially that pass rush with Hendrickson and Hubbard. Like those two guys on the D ends are studs. So I think I'm going to keep my faith in the Bengals just because I think they're going to be they got to be able to score. I think that's the biggest thing with the AFC, with the 4 teams that I think are the top ones, the Bills, Chiefs, Ravens, and Bengals. Those 4, this is going to be shootout type games, right? So I think that's how it's going to be looking for them.
Yeah, I got to say contenders as well, man.
Pretenders, man. I had them not making the playoffs before the season, and yeah, I said it. Yeah, and I was looking right. I was looking right until they played the Falcons, and Arthur Smith decided to, hey, we're gonna run the ball down by 3 scores the entire game. Like they let Bengals off the hook in that game. That should have been a shootout. But just look at the teams they played. Like other than Baltimore, like who's legit on that team? And look at the second half of their schedule. Like they haven't fixed the offensive line. Like that's the problem. Like Burrow is gonna get smacked again at some point. Yep. I love the defense. I love Trey Henderson, probably one of the most underrated defenders in the league.
That's my boy.
Y'all should still have it. Defense is still not great. It's just not great. Like you are basically saying Joe Burrow is going to be the MVP. Like that's the only way I see this team being a contender. Like, and I'm not feeling it right now. Like they just feel like they are running off of last year's energy, and it's run out. Like I'm out on them.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the topic of MVP, because our final segment of the night, we are going to do our way too early predictions, or at least talk about the front runners for these major
mid-season
awards. And that is also a suggestion of Adam Lewis. That's why we brought him on the program. So Adam, as this is your baby, we're going to start with you. Who is your front runner? I mean, is it really a debate? Who is the front runner, or who is challenging Saquon Barkley for the title that really is his?
And we're speaking comeback player of the year?
I mean, that's the only one that we could really mean that Saquon Barkley is going to run away with.
Right. And you know what's really crazy is not what's really crazy, but Saquon's going to win, but let's not act like we didn't know Saquon was capable of this. And everyone that was out there was saying, oh, Saquon's a bust, this, that, and the third. The guy just could not stay healthy for a little while. He clearly got a little bit of better conditioning under his belt. He was preparing better in the offseason. The comeback player of the year to me is Geno Smith, because we didn't know Geno Smith was capable of captaining an offense, taking them to a 4-3 record, and kind of shocking the league right now, considering his QBR, considering his completion percentage, considering that he's not turning the ball over right now with a defensive head coach who everybody has been ready for the Seahawks to move on from in Pete Carroll. Saquon's going to win it, no question about it. But if I'm really talking about a true comeback player, because to me, comeback player was wow. Like this guy actually not only came back, but is doing things that we did not think he could do. We knew Saquon was capable of this, so let's not kid ourselves. My comeback player of the year is Geno Smith, but I know Saquon Barkley is going to win it.
Blaine, same question, comeback player of the year.
I actually was going to go with Geno as well, with Adam. I think Geno deserves it, but I agree. I think it's going to be Saquon's to lose. I think
absolutely.
At this point.
Definitely Saquon's to lose, especially with the way the Giants are right now, 100%.
Jimmy, this is a Saquon sweep here, right? I don't have to go any further. We can go on to the next topic, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's Saquon. I don't care what nobody says, man. This man was ruined by injuries, and now he's balling on a team that's probably his less talented team since he's been there. So
valid.
Gotta go with him. But Geno's nice too. But real comeback player of the year is Pete Carroll, because he played everybody by trading Russell Wilson.
Hey, that's right, bro. That's right.
Blaine, offensive rookie of the year.
Offensive rookie of the year. Wow. I'm trying to think right now. Yeah.
It's a fraudulent award this year.
I know. I was gonna. My pick was Breece Hall, but then Breece Hall tore his ACL yesterday.
Go ahead and say it.
I was so. I mean, honestly, Breece Hall might still win it.
Go ahead and say my boy.
What?
We should talk about your boy
want-
too, because I got some choice words.
Who you want me to say? Who you want me to say? Chris Olave?
Yes, sir. You already know.
Yes.
I think he would probably. He's definitely the guy after. Honestly, Aiden Hutchinson's starting to make some noise though too. That's defense. Never mind. I'm an idiot.
Defense,
Never
yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. Yeah, Chris Olave.
Adam, go ahead and make the case for Chris Olave.
Yeah, man, definitely Chris Olave. And unfortunately, it's only because Breece Hall did go down, because before that happened, I think we all could sit here and agree that it was Breece Hall. The Jets had an amazing draft this year. Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall. We know the draft that they had. There's no question about that. But when you look at the fact that Chris Olave is a speedster, he can burn people downfield. He is a deep threat. And that's what the Saints truly needed. He's probably going to get shaded from it because the Saints are literally crumbling right now in a dumpster fire. Dennis Allen needs to be fired immediately. I'm being a little lenient with him because we are very banged up right now. But when you look at all these rookies out here, I don't know if a Dameon Pierce with the Texans, if I'm not mistaken, is going to get it. Kenneth Walker with the Seahawks could be a good pull there. But if we're truly talking about talent and the eye test, I don't see who you can look at but Chris Olave as of right now in the season. Drake London's looking nice too. Don't get me wrong. And don't be surprised if he sneaks in there and gets it. But I got to get something with 2 wins on the season. I haven't talked about the Saints all year. Thursday night was the first night I was actually terribly pissed about a football game in a long time since the no call with New Orleans. So I'm going to take Chris Olave, and that's just where I'm at with it.
JD?
I got this pulled up because I want to hold myself accountable because I forgot who I picked, but I don't want to give it to Chris Olave because I feel like he's a little fraudulent, and we'll talk about that as his career goes on. I'm sticking with my guy, Drake London. He is finding ways to escape bad coaching. I agree with you. If they decide to start passing the ball in Atlanta, I think he's going to be easily the runaway offensive rookie of the year. Just because what he was doing before they started this mess was insane. Like, it was crazy. Like, he looked like, I'm not saying he's Jamar Chase. It looked like it was leaning toward that way type of a rookie season. Like, look, throw it up to me 10 times a game and I'm going to come down with some ridiculous stats. So I'm still sticking with Drake because I think he'll ultimately win it when it's all said and done.
The NFC's had it 13 of the last 15 years. So now the AFC has won the last 2 with clearly Justin Herbert and Jamar Chase. But yeah, the NFC usually takes the cake here.
So, Adam, as you're talking right now, defensive rookie of the year, and might I just throw in, because I saw him up close and personal, Sauce Gardner is a real deal. I just want to put that right up there. Sauce Gardner is indeed the real deal. But
Absolutely, Sauce Gardner, man. I mean, look at his PFF grade. Look at the receivers that he's actually able to lock up right now. The fact that he is dealing with the Big Apple, with the New York media so well, hats off to him for already getting the Sauce deal. I saw that coming before the guy even got signed. I mean, I remember on draft night, they were like, just wait. Someone from a major actual sauce company is going to pick him up. He's already knocking down the sponsorships. I mean, I don't know who else we could look at. Maybe Kayvon Thibodeau, clearly, because obviously you see that the Giants alongside with the Jets as well are surprising everyone this year. But if you're talking about true impact on the field, passing the eye test, I mean, how do we look anywhere else than Sauce Gardner? He's playing absolutely amazing right now. And if you ask me, he's already a top 8 corner in this league as a rookie.
Same question, Blaine, defensive rookie of the year, or is it already Sauce Gardner's to lose?
I would say Sauce Gardner's a clear and well away front runner, and I think it might be a wrap already. But like I said, I kind of messed that up saying Aiden Hutchinson a little early, but Aiden Hutchinson has started to find his groove on the defensive end for Detroit. And I mean, that's just the mask of being on a bad team that he's just going to fall in the shadows because of how bad Detroit is.
Right.
So, but Aiden Hutchinson's been an absolute stud on the defensive end for that front line for sure.
JT, any love for Kayvon Thibodeau, or can we just say Sauce Gardner? Move on.
I actually love Kayvon, and I will tell you what, I'm going to do something really mean. I'm not picking Sauce Gardner because Don picked him before the season to win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
So you're holding a grudge towards Don. That's all you're doing.
I love Sauce, but my guy's still in it too, Aiden Hutchinson. And I feel like because he plays for Detroit, people not realizing. But every time I turn on and watch one of their games, 1 or 2 sacks.
Yeah.
And Jacksonville should have taken him number 1 overall. Like, it's clear. Like, he is a franchise player. And the thing with Sauce is, I love him. I do think he's legit. I think he's a top 6 corner potentially already, but that position is in flux So, I mean, it's not that hard to be up there. Look at the Jets. I think 4 out of their 6 games, they play backup quarterback. So I want to see. I want to see what happens if, Josh Allen comes to town, Mahomes comes to town, and he got to start guarding against Joe Burrow, some of these elite quarterbacks, some of these elite, passing attacks. I want to see, if that PFF grade is still up there, or he's going to start getting that down arrow. So I'm not just turning it over to him yet, because I feel like his success is predicated on who they play. Where like Aiden Hutchinson, I feel like he's just blowing up everybody he's lining up against. He's gone up against some good tackles, so I'm still giving a nod to my guy.
It's just, I don't know. It's kind of hard to buy in on the consistency of Aiden Hutchinson. I get it. Rookie, 22 years old, playing in Detroit. He might be flying under the radar. He had 3 sacks in week 2 against the Commanders and then a sack and a half against the Cowboys. I think we can all sit here and say that those are not great offensive lines to get past at all. We know what the Cowboys have went through. Clearly the Commanders are the Commanders. No sacks against the Patriots, Seahawks, Vikings, or Eagles, who are a pretty decent testament outside of the Seahawks. And maybe they're trying to protect Geno a little bit, but I don't know. I want to see more. 4.5 sacks for a rookie is great, but outside of week 2 against the Commanders, he had a sack and a half against the Cowboys. So I definitely want to see more out of that rookie.
We got to pull the Jets schedule, and Sauce might win it, because I think the only team that's on their roster, on their schedule, that's even that formidable is just Buffalo twice. Yep. But like, he might win it just because like they're not playing any good quarterbacks.
Right.
Well, talking about good players, we continue on with our way too early predictions. Blaine, Offensive Player of the Year.
Offensive Player of the Year is going to be Josh Allen.
Heard that.
That's all I gotta say. Josh Allen.
Heard.
So we can just move on to Defensive Player of the Year, gentlemen, or do we need to?
Nah.
They probably got other people, but I'm going with Josh Allen.
Y'all disrespected my boy. He quietly putting on the show, man, and y'all don't want to admit it.
Well, go away, Jimmy Thompson. Let me hear you.
Offensive Player of the Year is Tyreek Hill, because they're not gonna give it to a quarterback. I picked Justin Herbert before, but I learned my lesson. That's the Chargers. We ain't talking about them. Tyreek Hill, best receiver in the league. I was skeptical when we got him, because I'm like, Tua can't throw deep. How are we gonna get him the ball? Mike McDaniel said, "Shut up, man. You don't know what you're talking about." Like, is it fair to say that in Kansas City, where we thought he was great, possibly he was underutilized? Because I've never seen Tyreek used the way that he's used in Miami.
Right.
It's insane.
57 catches, 773 yards is pretty remarkable through 7 games of the year.
I forgot who he played. It was 2 weeks ago.
The Vikings.
And he had the quietest, like 10 catch, almost 200-yard game
12 for 177.
I was like, when did this happen?
Yep.
Like, Tyreek Hill is the most disrespected offensive player of the year candidate. Like, it should be his. Like, it's either him or Saquon, but I'm going Tyreek because it's ridiculous what he's doing.
Yep.
I have to be the first to admit that when Miami made that move for Tyreek Hill, I'm like, wide receivers don't win games. And what the hell do I know? Go ahead, Adam. Sorry, go right ahead, Adam. Offensive Player of the Year.
I would have to go Tyreek Hill as well, man. I mean, you take a look at his stats. He's only had 2 games this year where he hasn't had over 50 yards, 94 yards, 190 yards, 33, 160, 47, 177, and 72. I totally understand that he's only got 2 touchdowns, but I believe he can inch up towards that double-digit touchdown mark. But, of course, there's respect out there for Jalen Hurts as well. Clearly putting on a show. Love what he's doing. Love what Lamar is doing as well. Can't look away from Josh Allen. Can't look away from Patrick Mahomes. So I would say right now this award's kind of up in the air, but I would like to be solid with Tyreek Hill in this one. He's definitely impressing me with the way he's being used in Miami, and he is clearly the focal point of that offense next to Waddle. So definitely love to see Tyreek Hill take this one home this year. But I wouldn't be shocked if it goes to potentially another player that I just mentioned there, because there's a lot of offensive talent going around the NFL right now.
Tyreek Hill is who we thought Justin Jefferson would be this year.
Blaine, Defensive Player of the Year.
Micah Parsons, just because of how great he is and how much of an impact he is on the defensive side of the ball. Like we've already talked about earlier, he is probably the most important player that is not a quarterback right now on a team. And he is the reason that the Dallas Cowboys are in games. So got to go with Micah Parsons.
As I said continually on this show, Neil can tell you when that draft came up, I told Neil the best player in this draft, regardless of positions, is Micah Parsons. And Dallas getting Micah Parsons at number 10 is a hell of a steal.
Yep.
Adam, you have for defensive player of the year.
I gotta say Mikey as well, man. I mean, as a rookie, the fact that he came second in the second in the league in defensive player of the year voting, which absolutely blew my mind. Clearly he was the defensive rookie of the year, but I mean, yeah, who else could we really look at? Obviously, we see Aaron Donald, he's always going to get recognition. Myles Garrett, Nick Bosa have been playing their minds out, but when you look at the fact that Dan Quinn is coaching this team so well, the entire defensive unit as a whole is very, very solid and damn near elite, if not already in this league with the way they're playing on the defensive side of the ball. It would truly be a major snub if Micah Parsons did not win defensive player of the year. I mean, I literally feel like everyone's already banking on him to get it even after just a couple of weeks, let alone after 7 weeks in this league. I definitely got to go Micah Parsons.
Jimmy?
Oh, can I make a change? I want to change my comeback player of the year to James Robinson. He just got traded to the Jets. Can I do that?
Whoa.
Oh, yes, and wow.
Yeah, that's my MVP pick. That's everything. The Jets
that just came down the line?
Just came down the line.
Man. No way, dude.
That is a move and a half by the New York Jets.
I love it.
They got fleeced by the Jags, man.
Go ahead, Jimmy. Defensive player of the year.
My guy who I picked at the beginning of the season is still in it, but it's Micah, man. I love to pick Bosa, but I told you he's the closest thing to a franchise quarterback on defense in the league. Like you can't replace what he does. Like it's insane. Nope. And plus, I feel people want him to win this award because they love him. Like he's a freak, man. Like he can do everything. So yeah,
if he came in second as a rookie, the odds are already in his favor, and he's plus 100 right now as we're looking at it.
Yeah,
way ahead of Myles Garrett, who is plus 1,000. So clearly he's in it to win it.
No disrespect to this next award, but I think we can all just nod our heads because Jimmy mentioned it earlier. Brian Daboll is easily the winner of Coach of the Year.
Absolutely.
Go no further. You're shaking your head, Jimmy.
Because I'm sticking with my preseason pick. So I love Daboll, but I'm sticking with my preseason pick because he's still doing his thing.
And what would that be, Jimmy Thompson?
Nick Sirianni. That's what
we saw him do it last year, though. He took him last year.
No,
it's no surprise what the Eagles are doing this year, bro. They're finally learning how to build around Jalen. It's got to be Brian.
They undefeated. They're undefeated. Like,
yeah.
It's a complete team, but I like what he's doing because, let's be honest, everybody before the season started, there was a part of your mind that thought, all right, if this Jalen Hurts thing don't work out, they're gonna bench him. Like nobody thought Jalen Hurts would be an MVP candidate through the first 6 games. They're like, he might play well. He could get benched. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. Like, that's why the Eagles set themselves up to get a quarterback next year if that needs to happen. Like, I'm impressed. He's developed Jalen Hurts.
That's right.
Jalen Hurts is what they thought Carson Wentz would be. Like, this team is playing amazing. Like, they're just perfect everywhere. And I feel like we wrote him off because he was weird in interviews and he seems like he didn't know what he was doing. But the joke's on us. Dude's a genius. He does know what he's doing. And he also hires great staff. So I'm still sticking with Sirianni. Like, they're undefeated. Like, that's the best team in football until somebody beats them.
And I agree with you in that it's the best team in football, but we can't look past the obvious talent and what is going on in Philly. As you said, there are no holes in Philadelphia. None of us sitting down here had the Giants at 6-1, including the biggest Giants fans. So, Blaine, make your case for Brian Daboll, please.
Oh, just from what he has done and gravitated this team from a Giants team that has been absolutely in shambles for the last 5 to 8 years, so to speak. That a team that hasn't had any consistency, any identity, offensively or defensively. These last couple of years, they had a very solid defense. They weren't great. They were solid, though, but their offense could not do anything to keep them in games. But their coach, Brian Daboll, has coached them way to wins in the fourth quarter. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing adjustments that a team is the best second half team in football. And that is in-game adjustments, and that's all coaching.
Yep.
So bring us home, Adam, to the award that we all want to talk about, that we all live for as NFL fans.
Yep.
Most valuable player of the year. Who is your front runner so far?
I got to give it to Patrick Mahomes, man, straight up. The guy's playing lights out right now. We saw the game that he had yesterday. I'm pretty sure he's leading the league in touchdown passes. I understand the Chiefs might not be as far as everyone wants to be right now, but I just don't personally believe that Josh Allen's going to be able to sustain this type of play, considering that he's being leaned on so heavily. Obviously, Lamar, with the way that he's been playing a little bit this year, he's playing good, but he's not playing better than Patrick Mahomes right now. I just don't think there's anything to play right now other than Mahomes that could really be the front runner for this award. Definitely got Patty.
Jimmy Thompson, who do you have for most valuable player?
If only you understood how much I want to agree with you. Like, I hate to disagree with you on this, and Justin knows why.
Passing the eye test, bro.
And to your comment about you don't know if Josh Allen can keep this up. Yeah, you can, because the Bills are going to pass the ball no matter what the game script is. They up by 50, they passing it. They down by 50, they passing it. It's Josh Allen. It's Josh Allen because I had doubts that he could keep this up, be in the focal point of an offense, and stay healthy doing it. But, I mean, he's a freak. He's just out there stiff-arming linebackers. Like, he refuses to slide. Like, he can throw it 99 yards on a rope. Like, it's an alien. It's a freak. And here's the thing. Everybody wants him to win the MVP award. So as long as he's healthy and they are Super Bowl contenders, like, nobody will be close to getting this award. Like, I'm not even wasting my money in Vegas putting money on, like, any sleepers. Like, it's Josh Allen's award to lose. And so far, like, he's not letting it go.
You got the final word, Blaine?
Yeah, I would say it is Josh Allen's award to lose, but I'm gonna go with a different guy because it's the base of my definition of most valuable to your team. And if the Eagles are not undefeated, if Jalen Hurts is not their quarterback, let's be honest.
Fair.
If you're going based off of the definition of most valuable to your team,
Absolutely.
based off, I have to go with Jalen Hurts with the way that the offense is set up with his rushing ability and his passing ability. He's starting to show that he is more of a consistent passer than people give him credit for.
Yep.
And the team, and the Philadelphia Eagles are the best first half team in football. They get up on you early, and then they're able to put it in cruise control because the game is over by midway through the third quarter. That's how they've been playing this year. So you got to give Jalen, and that's all due to Jalen Hurts' ability to start off games.
Yep.
I would agree with you. If the Philadelphia Eagles could be in more competitive games, like the opponents could be more competitive,
right?
I think it would be much closer because most games are shut down by halftime.
Yeah, but so to Buffalo. Like Buffalo, by halftime, the game's done, and Josh Allen is sitting down halfway through the third quarter.
Not all of them. I mean, because I feel like the difference between the Eagles and the Bills is the Bills still can't run the ball. So teams will always have a chance to hang around. Like
Absolutely.
The Bills just can't put people away. Like they could be up by 2 scores, but because they can't run the ball, like boom, somebody could be right back in the game. Where the Eagles get up by 2 scores, they're gonna run it down your throat, bleed the clock, and it's gonna be hard to get back in the game.
Yeah.
Fair enough, but just remember, Buffalo has only been in 2 one-score games this season. All of the others have been
They beat Mahomes, right?
That they did.
Man, Mahomes is looking sharp. 67% completion, 2,200 yards, 20 touchdowns, 5 picks, 110 passer rating. I mean, dude's knocking it out the park right now. Absolutely love it.
That should be the offensive player of the year. Like I feel like they should get co-MVPs if they continue. Like what Mahomes is doing without Tyreek, with like receivers we don't even know their names, like is unreal.
Yeah.
I can't find a better note to end this show on because we have that great Monday Night Football game we all want to get to, and no, we really don't.
I do. Hey, this is gonna be a good game. I'm telling you, it's gonna hit the over. They're gonna go to overtime, and it's gonna come down to the last play. I'm excited. I love Justin Fields, man. They're doing him wrong in Chicago.
I know they are, man. I feel the same way about Fields as how they were doing Jalen Hurts, bro. Feel the exact same way. It's even worse treatment.
Watch that Monday Night Football game. Don't play.
Free Bailey Zappi. Free Bailey Zappi.
Zappy hour.
I promised y'all every single week of this season you're going to get Adam Lewis, and I have not failed to deliver yet. Adam, tell the people how to find you.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I always love being on the show. It's great to be back in the game. Guys, I'm selling real estate now. If y'all didn't know, buy and sell with AJL on all social media platforms, even if you're not buying here in Atlanta, Georgia. I know agents all over the nation. My brokerage is international, actually. So if you need anyone to help you out, buying, selling, investing in real estate, I'd love to help you out. Buy and sell with AJL on all platforms. And of course, you can catch me on this Just In every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Every single Monday right here on YouTube. I promise, and I have not failed to deliver. It has been too long, but I had to bring back Blaine. Blaine, plug yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me again, Justin. I know I didn't get as many Commander zingers in as much as I would like, but I was trying to be a humble winner today, being the better man. If Marcus ever texts me back, that'll be another story. I'll rip him a new one. But you can catch the Final Whistle at the final.whistle on Instagram and TikTok. Final Whistle Sports Pod on Facebook. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, you name it, we've got it. I took a couple weeks off just because of work overload, so we're getting right back into the swing of things, and be on the lookout for some great content coming your way this week.
Love to hear it, bro.
JT was trying to play a game of dodgeball with me, but I finally tagged him. JT, the one half of Don.
No, you're playing dodgeball with my wife, so we're playing the same game. That's what it is.
That's awesome.
But no, thanks for having me on. Like once you told me these two were gonna be on, I was like, yeah, I gotta jump on this. I haven't been in a chat with these two in a while, so definitely glad to be here. But JT and the Don, you can find us anywhere you listen to all of your podcasts. Follow us on social media, IG and TikTok, specifically JT and the Don. And hopefully, you can text Don and, convince him to come on, because he doesn't listen to me, so he only listens to you guys.
I will do just that. I'm going to message him as soon as I'm done here. But you know how to find us. 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, right here every Monday night on YouTube. If you want the shorter form content, Instagram, Facebook, even sometimes LinkedIn. Yeah, I've been trying that stuff. But yeah, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you can find the short form content there. But if you want us, you want all of us, and you want all of Adam, Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. I have to sign out because I am actually going to watch this Monday night football game. I don't know who I was fooling. So for Adam, for JT, and for Blaine, I am indeed Justin of #ThisJustin signing out. Go watch some Monday night football and see you again on Monday.
Deuces.
I know that after tonight, you don't have to look up at the stars. No. I
Come take a look at my dream world.
Tonight, you don't have to look up at the stars.
Chat. If you wanna come get it, then come for it. I'm so clean, my kick's nice, I'm Chuck Norris. Minute made the beat bounce, had to jump on it. Run for it, run, Gump Forrest Gump like hollow pumps, you gotta jump. No trouble, no double, I got a stun. You don't have to look up at the stars. Make one wish, you're looking at a star. Swag so fresh, you can put it in the jar. And the way I change gear, you can put me in the car. I remember